Hey guys, this is Jacolia of Jacolia Gems. Thank you for those of you that are returning. Welcome back, family. If you are new here for the first time, I do hope that you hear something on today that will persuade you to stay and to subscribe. With that being said, you guys, do me a favor, like the video, comment down below, share. Let's talk about healing and deliverance in the Black church and the correlation between Reiki Japanese massages. For those of you whom are not aware, Reiki Japanese massages is considered to be a pseudo science that heals natural ailments through massaging away of the trauma, far as cancer and thyroid, so on and so forth. When we begin to look at the Black church, it's not one size fits all. Some churches are stooped in the Kundalini and Python spirits and voodoo and hoodoo and necromancy and Wicca and black magic and things like that. You do also have some churches that have been set aside and etched out to teach true healing and deliverance that is not unctioned by these things. And without knowledge, it's hard to tell these two apart. It is hard to tell these two apart if you do not know what is what. I'm a move, y'all. I'm gonna talk one day. Baby, it is hard to tell these things apart. When we begin to look at the etymology of the Japanese, it is amazing that their oral history leads them back to the same predecessor as the ancient Israelites, which is Terah. When you go back, like all the way back, because Terah is the father of Abram, and Abram is the father of the Hebrews. When we begin to look at Terah, you can find more about him in the book of Jasher. But according to the Japanese oral tradition, they said that Terah was a priest of the god On. On is the same deity as An or Anu, the head deity in Mesopotamia, where these people group were. He was an idol fractioner, meaning he did not only build the idols, but he had to know about the deities that the idols were attached to, their form of worship, so on and so forth. When we begin to look at the Ainu of Japan, their linguistic systems are identical to ancient Hebrew. When we begin to look at the Japanese practice of chi, what if I begin to tell you that chi is not only rooted in Japanese, but is literally rooted in Hebrew? Because when we begin to look at the Igbo of West Africa, their predecessor is Neri, N-R-I, or Eri, E-R-I, whom is a Gadite. And their main god is called Chuku. And so this is why I say Chuku or Chinike, because this is literally means the Most High in Igbo. And when you begin to break down Chinike, you will see it has Chi, which means big spirit. So when you look at this amongst the Japanese, this is a Hebraic concept. So when you see people, not all people, because I'm going to tell y'all, there are a lot of witches and warlocks cloaking in the Black church. There are a lot of water spirits and serpent spirits cloaking in the Black church. I'm not moving off of that. When you have people whom have been gifted in moving pain and removing trauma, people come back with testimonies. People come back and they talk to you. And it does not always take a laying of on hands. Now, these are Hebraic markers that we were not even aware that existed, where these same people are practicing the same things by using supernatural powers, by focusing and concentrating on the energy that has been trapped, that causes these diseases and these ailments. And the world calls it pseudoscience. Yet and still, I know of a church on the west side of Chicago, Bethlehem Healing Temple, where the doctors would come in and testify with the patient's results, with canes on the wall, with tumors being passed, that these miracles indeed happened. I know that when my mother was pregnant with me in 1985, she was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and the doctors wanted her to abort me. And she went and she talked to her pastor, who would get his blessed oil from Africa, and it would be infused with myrrh and frankincense, and it smelled so good. And my mother decreed and declared, he said, what do you believe? She said, I do not have cancer. And she decreed that thing to be so. They touched and they agreed. And a couple days later, the mass literally passed away from my mother, and I am clearly here. There are so many Hebraic markers in the Black church and amongst other nations that we miss out on because we removed the Black identity from an Afro-Asiatic book. And it is time to regain our culture and also realize that everybody is not going to look the same. We need to know that the Ainu of Japan are Edomites, and they are related to the Idoma and the Edo of Nigeria, as well as the civilized 5 Native Americans, your red Native Americans. They are also related to some of the Arab that you see in Saudi Arabia. They are also related to some of the Yemen Jews, some of these conversos who began to pass as the true Sephardim. We need to begin to line up on line, precept on precept, here a little, there a little, and come back to our natural elements of true healing and true deliverance. Everything is not spooky. Physician, heal thyself. Food for thought.